hear from more players after the NFC Championship loss. Boy, that was a tough one. 49ers go down 31-7 against the Eagles. You listen to some of what Kyle Shanahan said. He said, quote, "Wish we had a little better opportunity in that game." That really is in reference to the two quarterbacks that went down in that game. Brock Purdy going down in the first quarter, and then Josh Johnson going down as well. At one point, Purdy came back in the second half, but really just handing the ball off with the exception of a couple short passes there, but really hard to do much of anything without a healthy quarterback. And it really turns into the storyline of the season for the San Francisco 49ers. You had two quarterbacks go down during the season, and then in this last game, you had two go down. There was even talk during that game that if Purdy couldn't come back in, Christian McCaffrey would have to then step up. Christian McCaffrey, boy, playing hard and doing his best to try to keep this team in it. 15 rushes, 84 yards. We're going to take some of the video and some of the pictures that we have. You can see the field was in great shape, ready to go. That was the hit that Purdy took. Elbow injury is what they were talking about. Kyle Shanahan didn't get specific on it. You see Purdy on the sidelines right there. I think a lot of question marks on how bad that injury is. Then you see Christian McCaffrey there really with that touchdown run early in the first half. But that was about all that the 49ers could do. Those are some of the pictures from today's game, but I do want to keep it on this shot as the players come out of that locker room. We will listen to some of what they had to say about this. But when Brock Purdy goes down, you have Josh Johnson go into the game. This is somebody, and a lot of people, when we were watching, said, so who's in the game? Josh Johnson being from Oakland, California, but this is somebody who had been in the league for 15 years, 14 different teams. That is actually a record. He was hit, and it was somewhat eerie because it almost looked like the hit that Brock Purdy had taken at that point, but at last check was being evaluated for a concussion. So really a tough loss, because with Kyle Shanahan saying, wish we had a little better opportunity, I think a lot of fans even out there wondering, what could this have team done against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles had Purdy been in the whole game and had Purdy been a little closer to 100%. And really at this point, we'll never know. But hats go off to the Philadelphia Eagles and that defense that came in there. They hit Purdy hard. They hit Josh Johnson hard. And I think a lot of credit has to be given to that Philadelphia Eagles team. As we look at some of the pictures again, we are awaiting more of the players to take the mic, listen to what they have to say about this NFC Championship game. There is that hit. You've seen some of the video. That was one of the still images, and it's never a good sign when Brock Purdy, your main quarterback there, is just standing on the sidelines, because you think, well, if he went into the tunnel, got treatment, then maybe he could come back. But and he did come back, but really wasn't back there to throw any sort of deep ball or go running or anything like that. That was the hit right there. And in this shot here that Josh Johnson took that sent him to the ground, and then he hit his head and went into concussion protocol. At that point, you see Brock Purdy looking on. I think a lot of 49ers players also looking on. We're going to go back to the microphone right now. I believe that is Christian McCaffrey. Let's take a listen.
Package of plays.
The frustration you guys must have felt to lose Brock, and then you lose your backup quarterback in the most important game that this was. Talk about the frustration or the challenge, I guess, of trying to continue on in that kind of mindset, having lost two quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It sucks. You never want to see any of your teammates get hurt, let alone obviously the quarterback position. It's tough. You're never out of the fight though, and we believed it and just didn't turn out our way. We got beaten. It. Wish we had another shot at it with everybody. It would but it's life. It's the way it goes.
What's the emotion like when Josh goes down?
Well, you're in the heat of battle. There's you got to turn the page as quick as possible, and there's still time left on the clock, so we're trying to score.
Christian, what are your emotions? This team has been on a roll almost from the time we got here, and have it just end abruptly like this.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotions that come at you at once. I think obviously it's disappointing, and we wanted to be playing and have a shot to play in the Super Bowl. But at the same time, I'm unbelievably grateful for the way this team took me in the middle of the year. Feels like a family in there, from the coaches and the ownership to the players, and I'm grateful for everyone in that locker room.
When you consider the run you guys made and just how special was a run like this for this team to do what you guys have done, backup quarterback and the whole things, the whole transition you guys have to have, how special was this year for this team?
Yeah, I think it was very special. You know, I go back to just the practices when I first got here and didn't know a lot of people, and just observing, and there's a reason why that team has a shot every single year, and I know why now. And the fight that's in the locker room is amazing. It's unfortunate that it happened the way it did today, because I feel like all those guys deserve, you know, a real shot. We all do. But once again, this is a tough game, and sometimes it doesn't go your way.
How was Brock's emotions going back into the game after he was out for an elbow injury and then not being able to throw?
You know, he was a warrior. You know, kept doing what he was supposed to do. It's tough when you can't throw. But you know, everyone was still dialed in and trying to make the next play go.
On your touchdown run, you got hit pretty early, and then you hit again and hit again. What was kind of the mindset as you were making that play?
I don't know if I had any thoughts. Just kind of going.
You just think, I'm going to score a touchdown.
I don't know if you have time to even think all that. You know, when you're playing, you kind of black out and you just let it flow.
How big a difference does that make? I mean, you already lost Brock, but now you're tied. I imagine just from a spirit or confidence level that see the score tied.
Yeah, you're never out of the fight in this league. You know, the ball can bounce your way at any point. You know, you've seen pick sixes, special team touchdowns. There's a bunch of things that can happen, and so you know, nobody believed we couldn't win.
I was going to ask you that Kyle said, I mean, obviously the Eagles are a very good team. You have to come here. But Kyle indicated there was just a real belief you were going to have a really, you collectively were going to have a really good game today. What was the level of confidence? And do you feel like you matched up with this pretty well?
Yeah, we go into every game confident. You know, every game we believe we can win. You know, and even when guys go down, there's still a belief in the huddle that we can win, and taking it one play at a time. It's just unfortunate when you lose both your quarterbacks that are suited up for the day.
Thanks, Christian.
Thanks, guys.
Just heard from Christian McCaffrey there. Looks like George Kittle is about to take the mic. Let's listen in.
George, you guys have been through so much this year. Just how handlings were frustrating, or just jam hardening, or bad to have to go through what you guys had to go through today with losing two quarterbacks and trying to continue in that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, losing your starting quarterback, who's a third-string rookie, to your fourth-string quarterback who did everything he could, gets hurt, you know, right away in the third quarter, and then you can only run the ball. It's tough. It's frustrating. You know, this is a hell of a football team. Great defense. Offense was moving it. You know, Christian had an amazing run that got a kind of lit a spark in us, and then you can only do so much. Ball doesn't bounce our way. That's football. It's life. You know, it's a hell of a team. I think we'll definitely come back. I mean, we have a great foundation in this team, great locker room. So, just on to the next one.
What was Brock's attitude like when you had to go back in the game, unable to throw?
I mean, he was just jacked to be able to be out there. I mean, he knew, he was like, hey, I mean, I'm not going to be able to throw the ball at all, so, you know, might as well have fun. And that was kind of just our message was, you know, F it. Like, what else are you going to do? You're just going to roll over and die, or are you going to go out there and be violent and be physical and, you know, do everything you can to put something good on tape?
Just how surreal was it when, obviously you lose Purdy, but then to lose Josh? Do you kind of look around and say, what's going on here?
I think everybody did that. Yeah, I mean, you dress two quarterbacks when neither one of them can throw and neither one of them is really available. Kind of limits what you could do as an offense, kind of limits our playbook to like 15 plays. So you only do so much. You know, as soon as Purdy came back in, they put 6 guys on line of scrimmage. They loaded the box, and it's not like we can do any play actions or anything off it. So we just kind of had to run into it. And you know, I mean, I'm pumped that my team didn't quit. They were fighting, and whether it was an actual fight or whether they're just doing everything they can to be violent, I love it. Completely terrible circumstance, but those boys didn't quit out there. So
George, how does that feel to get to this point, and it didn't even feel like that was your team out there to get to this pivotal game? You guys weren't yourselves because you're down two quarterbacks.
how's that feel to lose in the NFC Championship game because I don't have a quarterback? Pretty shitty, to be honest. Yeah, that's about it.
Does this loss feel different than a year ago just because of the circumstances, the emotions around it?
I mean, losing sucks regardless. Last year, to fight just to get in the playoffs, upset some teams. And this year, we had all the momentum, played well in the first round, played well in the second round. And, you didn't really get to see all the 49er football that we wanted to put out there on tape, but, life kind of just punches you in the face sometimes, and it is what it is.
What was the vibe like when before Josh got hurt? He hadn't played in a while, obviously, but
He's a capable quarterback.
Yeah.
He's been in the league for a long time. He's been on this team before in 2020. He knows our offense. I believe in all my teammates. If they get an opportunity, that they're going to take advantage of it. Look at Brock Purdy, what he did for the last 8 weeks. I had no doubt in Josh. I know it started off a little shaky or slow, but when you have 2 turnovers in the first half and 1 right before half in our own red zone, basically, it hurts. And then to lose your backup quarterback right away, what else are you supposed to do?
Jordan said you don't want to fight Trent Williams. You were one of the first ones to kind of separate him out of that group. What happened in there?
I was kind of late to the party. I saw, just our teammates obviously pissed off, maybe fighting through the whistle, being violent through the whistle. They didn't like it. I'm all for, do whatever you got to do, but I don't want my guys to get fined or, kicked out of a football game. So, and again, I don't want Trent Williams to really fight anybody because that's probably scary for them, but just make sure he kept in the game and didn't lose any money.
You and some of the other players talked about this week your hunger to get back to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. How much does this frustrating situation add to that?
My goal in life is to win a Super Bowl, so I'm going to do everything I can. I know Coach Shanahan's goal is to win a Super Bowl. We've been close multiple times, and unfortunately we haven't been able to do that. So, but I still have the confidence in this team. We have players all over the field. We have talent all over the field, and I know that we're just going to continue to play at a high level every time we step on the football field, and you're going to put good stuff on tape.
So the Super Bowl loss you guys had last year's NFC Championship game, those are kind of, you could say, what if this happened or that happened? Is this a different kind of what if, like frustration? What if we had?
What ifs just kind of litter our entire lives, don't we, if we don't achieve our goals? And I try not to look at what if. Shit happened. How are you going to respond to it? That was my message the entire game. Like, what do you want us to do, roll over and die? No, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to hit someone in the face as hard as I can. And, hey, if the play pops, we score a touchdown, that's awesome. If not, I'm going to hit a guy in the face again the next play.
You said last one, guys, you guys were limited to 15 plays. How much Wildcat do you guys have in that playbook? How much do you practice, if at all, throughout the course of the season?
We have it. Again, they had 60 linemen on the field. There's only so much you can do. Wildcat's good for, here and there, but it's not really an NFL offense, to just run that. I'm pretty sure if we just put Christian in at quarterback and Debo at running back, I think they would know what we were doing, and they'd probably just put 10 in the box, and you want to do so much.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
You are listening live there to George Kittle talking about the loss. Brock Purdy taking the mic. We'll listen in on that.
What you were feeling after that hit in the first quarter?
Yeah, just, my arm just felt like it stretched out. Just felt like really a lot of just shocks all over from my elbow down to my wrist, front and back. Just pain, really, all over.
At this point, do you have any concern about this being a long-term injury?
I have no idea. We getting an MRI tomorrow. It is a little swollen in the forearm area near the elbow, and that's all I know, man. It's still in pain, obviously, but just got to get the MRI tomorrow.
You went back in, you threw one pass, and then you didn't again. Did it make it worse, or just the same thing?
I've been throwing after the hit occurred on the sideline just to see where I was at. But even in those throws, it was painful, and so I couldn't throw anything probably over 10 yards, 5 yards. So that's why we just had some screens. That was really our only option when I went back in. So.
What kind of emotions do you have? Obviously a big game, big opportunity, and then you don't get to see it through. What is that like for you?
Yeah, it just hurts. It's I'm just so sad for the older guys. You know, Fred, Trent, George, Eric Armstead, everyone, all the guys that have been through this. You know, they've obviously been to the Super Bowl in 19, and then last year in the NFC Championship, and then for this to happen, it's in the first drive, really, of, man, like, this is the kind of game we have to play after the first drive, and I'm just frustrated. But it's more sad for those guys than anything, because they deserve to go, to win, and to win the whole thing. And so when that happened, man, I'm just more frustrated with that and sad for them.
Have you ever had this injury or anything like it?
I have not. It's the first time.
Did you, when you got the hit, you knew there was something that might be a little serious?
Yeah, I thought it was an incomplete pass, and then we had a third down coming up, and I went to the sideline while they were, like, reviewing stuff, or the play, just asking for a ball, like, because I knew something wasn't right. And so I just asked to see if I could throw. And even in those couple throws, I was like, man, something's not right. And it was a fumble. And then that's when they checked everything out, and I tried throwing on the sideline, and it was just extremely painful.
In Josh's first series, it looked like on third down you were almost going to run on the field, or was there something in your mind like you might be able to get back in? It was in your own territory.
No, I don't think so. Not at that moment. I was probably throwing on the sideline just to see how I was feeling, to see if it was getting any better, but it didn't.
Brock, after the initial injury, you had a conversation with Kyle at that point on the sideline. What did you say to him at that point?
Yeah, I told him right there, if we run a play, you know, I can't throw it deep. Like, just for this play at least, like, it's hurting really bad, and, you know, if we're going to get a completion, have it be something short, if that's all right. And so that's really what I was telling him.
Given the run you had this whole year, to have this happen when it happened, just how tough it was for you to have to accept it and then trying to continue on what was going on there.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about how hard it is, how it takes every little thing to align the right way to win, to go all the way. And it's just, I was thinking back early to the season, just what happened with all the injuries and stuff, and then, you know, we get hot and we're winning games, and how tough even those games are to win. Last week, how tough it was to win. Then you come into an environment like this, you know, locked in and ready to roll, and then an injury happens, and then the way the game goes just totally shifts in a different direction. So it's just all these emotions, and again, I come back to, I want it for these guys, the older guys, more than anybody. You know, as a rookie, you know, you can say, oh, I got your whole career, but man, these guys have told me, like, it's rare to get here, and so it's hard, it's not easy. So, man, it's more for those guys, and I feel for those guys, man, more than anything. So.
Right, on the last play where you got hurt, what was the design of it? Like, were you going deep to IU, and then also,
yeah.
Did you see Reddick coming? Until you didn't see him until it was too late.
Yeah, no, it was play action pass. I was literally ripping it to BA. He was coming open and thought it was going to be a big play, and then yeah, he just came from my blind side at the time, so on my right side, and you know, the ball came out. So.
All right, thanks guys. Nick's right here.
Just heard from Brock Purdy there talking about his injury. We'll get back to that shortly. Nick Bosa taking the mic right now.
Nick, from the defensive perspective, how deflating is it to see that your quarterback is out, and then later, of course, even the backup is out?
Yeah, after we found out Brock's was kind of serious, it definitely puts a damper on things, but we've been through it multiple times this year, and we've prevailed, so we still had a lot of hope. And then when Josh goes down, it's kind of like, it's tough when we can't throw the ball, and they know that you're not going to be able to run the ball either, because they're not going to allow that to happen when they know you can't throw it. So yeah, it was tough. Definitely not how you draw it up.
You guys have had two very painful postseason losses during your time here. Is this a different type of anguish? Just kind of a what if Brock Purdy could play 4 quarters?
It is, but it's something that I mean, this is the best group I've been around, and when stuff like that happens and it's pretty much out of your control, it doesn't make it any easier by any means, but you kind of just are proud that we fought.
Kittle mentioned that obviously this team has a lot of talent, going to be back in future years. Is that almost even being discussed in there, or just understood what's possible still?
Yeah, it's hard to discuss that. A couple guys did, but the thing about the NFL is you never have the same group. You might have the key guys, but it's just sad, you know, when you go through all this and this exact group doesn't get another day together. So that's what makes it hurt.
Do you think this might have been your best roster that you've been in this team? Oh, yeah.
What happened on the punt where it looked like the gunner ran into you, busted up your ankle? How much was the ankle factor?
That was kind of a sign of a rough day when you get hurt on the sideline. I got a cleat an inch or two into my leg, so that hurt. I was fighting through, though. I don't think it affected me too much. You're going through a lot at this time of the year, so you just have to keep on going.
Does it kind of blindside you? Or, I mean, how did it all happen? Did they come flying
It
off?
was a punt, and I was ready to run out because I don't think there was a return. And T. Moore had the guy, he was driving him out of bounds, and I'm kind of starting to move towards the field, and I see him coming towards me, and then he just whips him around, and a cleat into my leg. So it was rough.
When you hear Brock talk about how he's so sad for the older guys in the locker room, how much more respect do you have for a guy like that?
I mean, I've always had a ton of respect for him. I kind of feel him after the Super Bowl. I felt the same way about Staley and a lot of guys on the O-line who were that you kind of have an idea that they're not going to get another shot at it. And I feel the same way about the older guys here, Trent, and guys that have just done everything right and should get rewarded for it, but it's a really tough league.
What's the vibe like when Josh is in there? I mean, even though he hadn't played long, I mean, here's a guy I'm sure you have a lot of respect for, given how long he's been in the league. And you guys, it was still a close game at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I had confidence in him to make the right reads and all that stuff. I think we were still pretty confident as a team. We were confident as a defense at the time. And, I mean, the guy hasn't played in probably multiple years, especially in the NFC Championship against one of the best pass rushes in the league. So it was tough. We had confidence, though.
All right, that's it. We got Fred coming to you guys.
You were just listening to Nick Bosa there. We've heard from a number of San Francisco 49ers players, that is, getting their reaction to what happened today. The NFC Championship loss, 31-7. The San Francisco 49ers go down. We heard from Brock Purdy earlier, who described his injury. Brock Purdy going down in the first quarter today and came back in the second half but wasn't able to throw the ball. We're going to go back to the podium right now.
Question, but how do you put this in perspective? What happened here today?
Man, I mean, we lost. It's crazy. You know, when you win for so long, you forget how losing feels, right? And today, you know, a lot of things didn't go our way. We self-inflicted wounds on defense all the way through. However you want, you know, draw it up or talk about it. It just wasn't our day.
Brock was up here talking about how, while it was frustrating for him, he's even more sad for the older guys in the locker room that he didn't help them get to the final game. What can you say about what he's been like?
He ain't got nothing to be sad about. You know, he's the reason we even got to this game. When Jimmy went down against the Dolphins, like, we didn't know what our season was going to be, you know. He came in and did a heck of a job. He's the reason we're here right now. And like I said, unfortunately what happened, you know, him getting hurt and Josh getting hurt, we just couldn't do enough to find a way to win.
How hard is it to swallow that it feels like your opportunity, you didn't even get a real opportunity because of those quarterback injuries?
Yeah, it sucks. No matter what was happening throughout the game, we held strong. We had complete confidence that we could win the game however we needed to, regardless of what everybody else probably was watching. Obviously we didn't have our best chance when, stuff like that had happened, but, it is what it is.
With everything you guys have fought through the season and all the injuries that you have dealt with, what were the emotions like in the locker room?
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Guys are obviously emotional. I've been here before where you lose in the biggest moment, and it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. You want to talk about how we'll be back next year and all those things, but I think more than anything, just guys kind of reflecting and being with one another today in there. Every team is different every year, so you got to enjoy this group while we have it.
How do you think you will remember this group, particularly the defense moving forward when you look back on it?
Yeah, man. We finished as the best, the top defense in the league. Unfortunately, we couldn't do enough today to give our team a chance to win. So it sucks, but this was a special group.
Fred, does this one feel any different?
Does this game feel any different from past? Yeah, most definitely. But a loss is a loss. They all sting. They all sting bad. But you look at it and you learn from it, and you be better from it.
What do you think it takes to get over
I'm not sure. I gotta take a look. It's hard to remember exactly how the flow of the game went, but you see how critical things that might have happened. But we'll take a look at it. We'll be better from it, learn from it.
I don't know if you even think about something like this after a game like that, but real chance that it was D'Amico's last game here. Did you take a moment, say anything, or will you at some point in the next 20
Yeah,
minutes?
no. I hadn't thought about it up to this point because obviously you think you're gonna win it all, but seeing him was emotional. It was the first time it kind of hit me, right, that this was the last one with him, and we came in this thing together. I owe everything to him. He's the reason I'm the player I am today. He's fully deserving to go on and be a head coach. So, it hit hard today for sure.
Fred, this is a novel thing. All teams think they're going to win, but Kyle indicated there was just a great degree of confidence in this team that you were going to come in here and win this game. What gave you? Was it the matchups you had with the Eagles? Did you just like the way this game set up?
You always have confidence you're going to win. I think this was a really special group. Not to say that the teams that I've been a part of have not been special before. It was a special group. It wasn't even about the matchups. It was about us. We had full confidence in what we were going to do, and things just didn't happen to go our way.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Just hearing from linebacker Fred Warner with the San Francisco 49ers. We have heard from a number of the players there. We are keeping this shot up in case some other players might come out here, getting reaction to today's NFC Championship loss against the Philadelphia Eagles, a 31-7 loss at that. I think we go back to Brock Purdy talking about his injury. He said elbow to the wrist. He had shocks all over. I think as a fan and coaches even hearing that concerning. He didn't know the extent of his injury, doesn't know the extent of his injury, but certainly at one point was even quoted, this being Brock Purdy, who went down in the first quarter of today's football game, quoted as saying, "I can't throw deep." It was hurting really bad, he said. He did come back in the second half because at that point, Josh Johnson had been knocked out of the game. He was hit hard and went into concussion protocol. So certainly concerning when you hear that type of description there. It appears that the players there are done. We'll go on a wider shot and keep a close eye on that room there. But a tough loss for the 49ers. I think a lot of coaches, a lot of even players and fans wondering, could this team have done more had they been at full strength or even close to full strength on that quarterback? You heard Nick Bosa say, it's tough when we can't throw the ball, and they know that. Well, we'll have much more on this game, on this NFC Championship loss tonight at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock with a live report from Philadelphia. ABC 7 sports anchor Chris Alvarez is out there. He is talking with players as we speak. You'll hear what they have to say tonight at 5 and 6. Have a great evening.